Hello friends, welcome back to the class. In previous class, we see that we completed our fourth exercise of our first chapter, which is exercise 4.4. From today onwards, we start our next topic, which is quadrilaterals. So the quadrilateral system is also a polygon. I make several points for the quadrilaterals having 4 sides, having 4 angles, having adjacent and opposite sides. So this is all about the quadrilaterals are that shape which having 4 sides, 4 angles and having adjacent and opposite sides. So the quadrilateral simply look like this. We make any shape but it having a 4 sides, means 4 arms, A, B, C, D. So about the quadrilaterals, we have several conclusions that it has opposite sides like AB is parallel to DC and AD is parallel to DC. So these are the opposite sides which are parallel to each other. And second point we have, it has adjacent sides. Like adjacent angle B is and angle C are adjacent and angle D and angle A are adjacent. Means the points which are made at each end like C and B, so they are the adjacent to each other. So this is all about the quadrilateral. On the basis of quadrilateral topic, again we have our next exercise, which is exercise 4.5. It has one topic more, like the angle A is opposite to angle C and angle D is opposite to angle B. So the angle C is opposite to angle D, A, and angle B is opposite to angle D. So this is all about the quadrilateral topic. So let's move forward and start our next exercise, which is based on quadrilaterals. So in fifth exercise, we have our first question, which is draw a rough sketch of quadrilateral PQRS. Draw each diagonal. Name them. Is the meeting point of quadrilateral in the interior or exterior of the quadrilaterals? Firstly, we make a quadrilateral having sides P, Q, R, and S, and also we make diagonals to it. So diagonals are the interior lines which are drawn from one point to another. Its intersecting point will be O. So here we need to find whether the diagonals are in interior or exterior of the quadrilateral. We simply see that both the diagonals are interior parts of PQ RS diagonal. So the diagonals are in interior portion of quadrilateral PQRS. The interior part will be like the shaded portion of which is surrounded by a particular boundaries. Like this is the interior point O, which is totally surrounded by this fencing. Again, in this example, PQRS quadrilateral, the O, the meeting points and the diagonals are surrounded by the its boundary PQ, QR, RS, and SP. So this is all about the first question. So let's move to our next question, which is again where we need to draw a rough diagram of diagonal KLMN. Let's proceed of the first part, then we solve our next question, because it having several parts also. In next question we have our second line. We have a quadrilateral line K, L, M, and N. In first part we need to find two pairs of opposite angle. In B part we need to find again two pairs of opposite. In first part we have not angle, we have sides, angles. In C part we have two pairs of adjacent sides. In D part we have two pairs of adjacent angles. So this is the four parts of our second question, which is based on quadrilateral K, L, M, and N, in which we have our four parts like A, B, C, D. In the first part, we need to find two pairs of opposite sides. We simply see that K, L, and M, N are the first two oppositions, which are parallel to each other. K, L is parallel to M, N, and the second part will be like again L, M is parallel to K, N. So these are the first and this is the second pair of our two opposite sides. In the second part we have two pairs of opposite angles. Again we have first pair like K and M and L and. So this is the first pair, this is the second pair. In C part we have two pairs of adjacent sides. So adjacent sides are the points at ends which are at same line segments, like we have M and N and it will be presented as LM and MN. So this is the first pair of lines, and second pair will be KL and KN. So this is the first pair, this is the second pair. In last part we have two pairs of adjacent angles. So we made these are the adjacent angles to each other. First, these are the also adjacent to each other. Like angle L and angle M is the first pair. Second pair will be angle K and angle M. Whenever we write anything in this part, this represents the angle. This is the angle representation. So this is first pair, this is the second pair. So we have the four parts of our second question, which is based on quadrilateral K, L, M, and N shape. So in first part we need to find two opposite sides. So this is the answer. In second part we need to find two pairs of opposite angles. So these are the two pairs of opposite angles. In C part we have two pairs of adjacent sides. So this is the first side and this is the second side. In fourth part we need to again find two pairs of adjacent angles. So L and M are the first pairs and K and N are the second pairs. So this is all about our fifth exercise of our fourth chapter. Third question is not very useful for your exam point of view, which is based on activity. So let's move forward and start our next topic, which is circle. So our next topic will be, its definition will be closed circular path called circle, which is represented as a round circle. I write the several parts. Having a center, I am point the first, then I am told you this is O, this is P, Q, this is R, A, B, so I make the figure of a circle, then I explain. Having a center which is called O. Center is the midpoint of the circle, which is represented here as O. Having diameter PQ. So the diameter is the full length of any line segment which mostly passes through the center of the circle. So here the PQ is the diameter. Then having radius. So these are the several parts which a circle is consisting. Having radius OR. So radius is basically half of diameter. So radius will be half of diameter. This is the formula also. So the radius is the half of diameter. So here the OR is the radius. Having arc QR. So arc is the boundary area shaded portion for a particular region QR. Having sector QOR. So the sector is the made from the arc with the two radius as center point. This is the sector. Having chords. The chords will be AB. The chord is the basically a mark line which start with the one starting point at any circle point and goes to at end, which is interior part of the circle. So it is a AB. Having segment AB again. So the segment is made through chord, which is the not touches the center part of the circle. So these are the several parts of our about radius. You know that when we, this is a large part, when we add two radius, it becomes a diameter. This formula also comes with this point. So these are the 8 parts of which are 8 points which are very important for the circle top. Again, on the basis of this, we have another example, which is our last example of this chapter also. Again and again, I told you that in this chapter we have very small topics, and on the basis of these topics, we have our next exercises. I forgot to tell you that when a circle is formed, having O center, the outer area of the fencing is called circumference. Circumference, which will be the boundary or this shaded portion. So this is about our 9th point, which is circumference. Now let's start our last exercise. exercise 4.6, which is the last exercise of our this chapter also. In first part we have from the figure identify. So we have a figure like a circle, O AC DE chord AB and somewhere F also. So here we have several parts like in first part we have center of circle. In B part we have 3 radii. Radii is also the radius. C part we have a diameter. In D part we have a chord. In E part we have 2 points in interior. F part we have a point in exterior. A sector. Last one is a segment. So we have these several parts for our first question. Sector and segment. So we have these 8 parts for our first question, which we need to write the answers for these 8 parts according to our given circle. We already have marked the points for its. In first part we have center of circle. We simply see that O is the center. In second part we have 3 radii. So the radii are the simple line which goes to a center and come back. So this is the first OA, OB and OC. Radius are half of diameters. In C part we have a radius. So our radius will be starting with A point and goes to another point which touches the center, which will be AC. In D part we have a chord. So chord will be any point which start with on circle and goes to anywhere without touching the center, which will be ED. Which will be a segment also. 2 points in interior. So the interior points are O and F. Here we have another point G like. In F part we have a point in its exterior will be G. A segment. A segment will be like a arc is made on a boundary and with a shaded portion touches with the center. So the sector will be like OAB and the segment is ED. Segment and sector are looking similar but they are different. The sector is made with the help of center, but about the segment, it doesn't the center. It only made with 2 points, and the sector is required 3 points. So this is all about our first question. So let's start our next question. So our second question will be like, it will be reason based question. In first part we have, is every diameter of a circle has a chord? Yes. In second part we have is every chord of a circle is also a diameter. No, because the chord will be made by like this also this, which doesn't touches the center. But for a radii, it required to touches the center and move to a full circle point. So this is about a second question. In first part we have yes, in second part we have answer no. In third question we have draw any circle and mark. In third question again we need to draw a circle and mark a point, its center, a radius, a diameter, a sector, a segment, a point in its interior, a point on its exterior, and arc. So by taking these all 8 points, according to this, we need to draw circle and mark these points also. So we make a big circle like this. In first part, we need to mark a center. Center with this, we have a point O. Second part, we have a radius. So radius is the starting with center, goes to any place. This will be A. This is the radius. Center will be O, radius will be OA or diameter. When we increase this with B, it's make a diameter AB. So we have a diameter AB. In D part, a sector. For a sector, we need to require another radius making arc. So we have C. So this is a shaded portion also. So we have a sector like OAC. A segment. For segment we need to draw a chord like D and E, which will be also must be a shaded portion. So it will be DE. In F part we have a point in its interior. Simply we have a point O in its interior, a point on its exterior. Mark anywhere outside the circle, it will be G. So mark will be G. Last point we have an arc. So arc will be this, which is very helpful for making a sector, which will be AC. So this is all about our third question. We having these 8 parts, and on the basis of these points, we make a circle and mark the particular points. In first part, we have a center. So we mark a center O. In second part, we have a radius. Simply we make a radius starting in center and goes to any point. It will be OA. Then a diameter. Then we increase this portion. So they AO and OB meets to each other and it's from AB diameter. In D part, we have a sector. For making a sector, we must require an arc and 2 radius. So we have a radius OA and OC and having arc AC. When we join these and shade this portion, we have get a sector OAC. For E part, we have a segment. For a segment, we need to draw a chord, which will be any portion which starts with one point and goes to another point in the circle. So we have a segment DE. In F part we have a point in its exterior. Whenever it's in its interior. Whenever interior portion is up, always take the center, which will be O. In G part, if more than one interiors are asked, then mark anywhere like this, interior of the circle. So these are the interiors. In G part we have a point in its exterior. Anywhere outside the circle, mark at any point and give a name, which will be G. In H part we have an arc. So arc is basically used for the making of sector. So we join AC, we get an arc AC. So this is all about our first three questions of this exercise. So let's move forward and solve our last question of this exercise, which is question number 4, which is totally based on true and false. I don't write the question, I simply explain you. In fourth question we have two parts. In A part we have two radial diameters of a circle will necessarily intersect. In first part we have two diameters will necessarily intersect to each other. Yes, it is true. Because this is explanation, like we have a circle this having O center. This is our first diameter AB. This is our second diameter CD. So they are intersecting at point O, which is also center. A diameter required to pass the center, and whenever two lines passes through at any point, it make a intersecting point. So they are necessarily required to intersect to each other. In B part we have the center of a circle is always in interior. So second part in which we have a circle, in a circle the center is the interior part. So it is again a true, because again we have a circle, we have a point O. So O is lying inside this circle portion, inside this circumference O. This in previous question I have already told you that whenever center is asked, always first use the, whenever interior point is asked, always use our first priority, which will be center, which is O, having different diameter. So this is all about this chapter and this exercise. If you face any problem in this chapter and in previous classes, please ask in the comment section. From in next class, we start our next chapter, which is understanding elementary shapes, which is our chapter number 5. From next class, we start our 5th chapter, which is understanding elementary shapes. If you face any problem in our previous chapters, like in first, second, and third and fourth, and or in any exercises, please ask in the comment section. If you face any problem, please don't hesitate. Please ask in the comment section. If you like my class, please subscribe and like it. Thank you for today.